All right, let's dive right into it. So I guess obviously we talked about the topic for today is diversity, but maybe I'll put this to Fields. I mean, how should an organization really define diversity and inclusion?
Diversity is talent. It just flat out talent, and you know, folks that don't see it that way. You're passing on talent. Um, I was just at a school up in Virginia, and I was talking to the school, and there was a young folks, and I said, everybody in the room is diverse, and they all looked at me and said, because you're young. Think about it. A lot of these industries, um, they're aging population. They've got older folks. They're not attuned to what's going on in the industry. So no matter what color you are, you represent their replacements. You are, so from a diversity, from a thought, how you approach things. So diversity is finding the people that are in sectors that represent and have a vested interest in that sector, getting the best and brightest to sort of get on your team. And it's the best leaders can get good players on their team. It's not, it's like a Nick Saban or a Dabo Sweeney. Why are the best attracted to those types of folks? And when you're that type of leader, you attract talent. And if you got great messages, you're attracting those messages. So now the diversity comes in because everybody that sort of hears that message is probably not going to look like you all the time. So if you've got some type of hang up that's, somebody attracted to your message, they're a believer, and then you're shutting the door. Well, you may be shutting the door to a potential customer, to a potential, leader. So the folks that can sort of, become sort of not blind, but sort of, have that, that mask. Okay, what does this person represent? Can they support our team? Can they help us win? I find those folks tend to perform better than the ones that are saying, well, I don't like this guy because, so whatever. So, but again,
Yeah.
diversity is, it's a business case, and then the folks that, are the best community organizers, the best mayors, who are the best. And there's a common theme that we see pretty quickly.
Great. Megan, do you have any other perspective on that?
Well, I was going to say, Field, something you said really struck with me. I was the other day rereading one of the guidances for a program, and they're talking about diverse communities and underrepresented communities, and they talked about older people. And I think you're totally right that that's something we don't always consider as, perhaps an underrepresented or underserved group. And they really were great. I was impressed kind of the level they went to in listing out, veterans, formerly incarcerated individuals, people of color, women, people in, different communities, in the LGBTQ community. I mean, it's really, I think when we think of diversity, sometimes we think of just kind of, one category or another, but it really is, as the word says, it really is a diverse group of diversity. And I think that's important to remember when we think about diversity and inclusion, and
I think
how we go about that.
And I think, and Brian and I could probably attest that, unfortunately, being honest with ourselves in the industry, right? Technology over the, let's say last 20 years has not been as diverse as it should be, right? In that definition, Megan, right? It's,
yeah.
And even I would say narrowing it down, even in the broadband space, from design, operations to all these things, like the diversity has not really been there. I think it's gotten better for sure over time, but I think, obviously there's a long way to go to create a much more diverse environment. And the inclusivity, which is obviously we're trying to include more people in the broadband connection side, right?
Well, it's easy in our industry to kind of see, where the challenge is by just going to one of our industry events, right? Or one of our shows. So,
Yeah.
I brought Fields to a particular show. That's a very popular one. And, to show them around and, tell them what some of these acronyms mean that we love to throw out in the broadband industry to confuse people. And, of course, diversity is on our mind. And, it was very clear that There wasn't diversity nearly as much as it needs to be in age, right? Gender, people of color. I mean, it's an older white male dominated crowd, particularly. But what's happening, I think, and at least for Bonfire, a Colorado based company, we've had our challenges too. And our first challenge was, as we got into the industry and started this company, coming from being in the industry for a long time, we went and hired a bunch of people that we knew that were really good at their jobs. And they all had 20 plus years experience, some 35 even, right? And that was really great immediately to hit the ground running and having just a super experienced team. But it was very quickly, looking around, especially as I was the youngest person in that crowd, and I'm not that young, I know I look it, but I'm not, is that we are going to have a short lifespan as a company if we don't start getting some young people in here and taking this talent, right, that's in so much of these people's, minds, and transferring that amazing, talent and experience that they have. So we've gotten a lot better at that, and that was like day one, and we're it's amazing. We're very balanced, I feel now, from an age perspective in all aspects. And then it was like, okay, well, this is kind of a guys club, and we know in a lot of the particular fields we've had great experience with women engineers. So we started focusing on hiring more women. But the first thing was you hire white women because they're the ones that are around in your network predominantly, and we started making some headway there. But one of the things that was missing, and what Fields has connected the dots on, and why we started immediately working with Fields, is connecting the talent that is available to industries that typically haven't had the conduit to get that talent. And for us, building these networks in areas that are underserved, typically, there's a lot of diversity. So how are we going to properly represent that community if we don't have those lenses to look through? So Fields has really helped us, and we have still a long way to go, but we've made some great headway of just being able to connect the conduit to the talent that's out there that's very talented, especially young people coming out of school with these HBCUs. There's just an amazing opportunity.